for this one, it'll be a little different. Let's take 4. And then for the last one. Let's give him this one. And I probably miss this out somehow. I don't know. I don't like that one. I already have that one. It's a toss-up. Let's just go with this one. Whatever. And for the Beastmen, I don't really give a shit because I have to hire a lot of them. So I'm just going to give them random. And you can field 11 players at a time. I like to go with 11 usually for the beefier teams. For some of the more squishier teams, I'll probably make more start time. And then for the next thing that you have to do is negotiate with your sponsor. So you pick a sponsor out of all these. You have McMurphy's, which is basically McDonald's. You have Bugman's. You have Goblin Gambling, Chaos Gift Shop, Scave and Cheese, Human Polish Shop, Skinks Fitness Club, and Grintus Work Equipment. Whatever. And it doesn't really matter which one you pick. I'm going to go with Chaos because I'm Chaos, and who knows, maybe they'll give me some goodies. And then you kind of, you basically negotiate with them saying what what you assume that your victories are going to be. I just like setting them all to like kind of the max. Because that usually wins you the most money. Because you never know how you're going to do. So you might as well just give yourself as much money as you can. So you can actually win as much as you can. So even mine the best, this gives me 100,000 gold to do what I please. And then you take the rest of your gold and you want to give yourself re-rolls. What re-rolls are essentially, they are ways in which when you roll the dice for the various kind of things that you do in this game, what a re-roll would allow you to do is re-roll the dice. So essentially, let's give an example here. You're going to bash in one of the teams. You're going to make a guard move, alright? And you try to do that, and both of the dice rolls you get are like attack or down, which means that you get counterattacked and you get knocked out. You could re-roll both the dice and possibly get a better roll. So I can only afford 2, so I'm going to go for 2 for now. And there's these other things here, but you shouldn't really worry about those right now. I'll explain them in due time once I actually start upgrading. And the displayed team here. Give it a little moment that's lag. It just shows your whole team. It's a nice little overview. And yeah, I think I gave all the chosen unique helmets. Cool. Alright, so we'll give this a save without quitting, and then let's prepare for the match. Let's see what teams I have to go against. Fuck. I have dwarves and wood elves. Great. I was hoping for something really easy like a halfling team or a goblin team so I could get that early little boost ahead, but seems we're going to have to go against some really good teams. So we have dwarves and we have wood elves. I'm not going to go against the dwarves because they're a bashy team like me, except they can also run the ball, and at the start they're very bashy, even more so than the chaos team. So I'm going to take the wood elves, and hopefully I can cripple a few and get some touchdowns. Let's see how this goes. Okay, for the next thing here, you will notice the values of the teams. Mine is 1030 and theirs is 1300. What this means is basically you get petty cash, and it's just cash given to you by the tournament so you can play competitively, and it gives it to the team that has the lesser value of the two. I also think if you have just less value in general, you get it, because I've seen that happen before. And so, and you can also take your gold and give it to that. So with this petty cash, what you can do is, I have a lot of gold here because I just started out. What you can do here is you can go through all these and you can give your team extra little upgrades of the Warhammer variety. So the first thing you want to do here is training. And I'm going to go for strength, and you want to go for these so you have a higher percentage. of doing this. And then you hit this button, and then you gotta hit it again before it hits the top, or the right. And you see here, this little plus symbol, this doctor symbol. If you go all the way to the end, you overwork your unit, and he can't play for the game because he's injured. So let's go for this. I'm going to be really quick on this because I don't want to mess it up and have to restart this. So let's go. So 13%, not too bad. And then you have all these other options which actually do cost money. Training is always free, and these actually cost petty cash. So the first thing you have here is star players. I'll go through all these real quick. You can hire mercenaries or star players. Mercenaries are just extra units that you can have. So in case like you played a game and one of your players got injured, like say for example my Minotaur got injured, and then I'm fucked, I don't have my Minotaur. What you can do instead is hire one of these players. They're not as good, but it allows you to have a player. So it's one of those kind of emergency things. But the main thing here is star players. Star players are special. Well, they're chosen. They're awesome units. But the downside is they are expensive, and they have the loner skill, which I'll talk about. So let's go through these real quick. First you have the ever-popular Morg and Thorg, which is as you can see, he's an ogre, and he has a giant-looking spit-like fist kind of thing. So his awesome thing here is that he has a movement of strength, a strength of 6 and a armor value of 10. So he's pretty much impossible to injure, to kill, or anything like that. And he does a ton of damage. But as you can see, he is expensive. That's a lot of money, especially if you have to pay for it out of your own wallet. Petty cash, it's not so bad. Sorry about that, I take a drink, because I am talking a lot. And as you can see, he has a loner stat here, and as you can read through it if you want, but essentially what it means is you can't use team rerolls in order to reroll what they do, because they're so cocky. They don't want you to help them, because they're trying to hog all the glory to themselves, I suppose. So let's go through the rest of these real quick. You have Ripper, which is a snow troll. So he has the regular stats that a troll would have, being a big guy. Except he doesn't have the stupidity trait that most trolls have, which kind of can fuck you over. When you roll a dice, it has a random chance for him to just sit there on the field and do nothing. And he has increased stats, so he's pretty good too. And I already went over him. Next you have the specific chaos units, which are the Splackhoof, which is a awesome looking Minotaur. Yeah, he doesn't have the usual Minotaur disability, which I'll talk about later. And he's pretty good. But he also has the loner stat, which does suck. And finally, we have Lord Balrak. Balrak? Lord Balrak, awesome. That is spoiler. And he's a advanced Chaos Warrior. The main thing that he's great at is he has the Dirty Player skill, which allows you to, whenever you're making a foul, it allows you to essentially... It allows you to more effectively injure a player. And a foul is something you can do if you've knocked down a player. You can furthermore injure them by attacking while they're on the ground. The bad thing about this, however, is that... Sorry about that. The great thing about the downside to Dirty Player is, or fouling in general, is that if the referee sees it, he ejects your player out of the game. So I'm not going to buy any of these, because the bad thing about having star players is, although they're really good and they can help you win games, they decrease the chance that your players can can get experience, and you want experience to give them additional abilities when they level up, because your players can level up in this game. So while it may give you that advantage for that one game, if you continuously use them, it's going to weigh down on your regular units, and they're going to either get killed off or they're not going to have any experience to be useful. So next we have the fair play, which if you want to call it fair play, it's not. But it's fair play for Blood Bowl. So the first one is Wizard, which allows you to hire a wizard that sits in the stands, and at any point in the game you can use him to like throw a random spell and like destroy one of their units. Like he'll throw a random fireball or a lightning bolt or some, wizardly spells. The bad thing is he can have a chance to fuck up and actually use a spell to help their team. So once I was playing against the enemy and the enemy had a wizard I didn't know about, he used a spell against me and it caused my character to have more strength. So he actually buffed him. And the next thing you can get is Cheering Fans. Very simple. They allow you to have your wizard use more spells because they bring more scrolls. Brightey Fans are the opposite of this. It allows you to decrease the amount of Cheering Fans that the opponent can have. Wandering Apothecaries, very simple. They are apothecaries you can hire for a match. And apothecaries, what they are, I was going to explain this, but I might as well do now. Apothecaries are, every time you get injured, you can use an apothecary to re-roll the injury roll. So in case you take a hit and your character ends up dying, you can use an apothecary to heal him, and you can potentially have a better result, like he breaks a leg and he misses a match while it gets healed. So that's a lot better than having your player dead and then you have to buy a complete new one at level 1. So they are pretty good to have around. Next you have the foul play, which sounds useful, but these aren't really that great. You have bribes, which allows you to bribe the goblin referee into looking the other way when you do a foul action, or if you have a secret weapon, which I'll explain about when I talk about the dwarves, and the dwarves have secret weapons, and the goblins have secret weapons. Lots and lots of secret weapons. So having bribes is pretty awesome for a goblin team in particular. Next you have you can bribe an enemy player so he kind of slows down a little bit. It's not that great. And then you can have bodyguards, which protect your players. Nah. Bodyguards protect your players against being bribed. Next you have the extra training. These can be pretty good, but they are expensive, as most of these upgrades are. You have extra team training, which allows you to have an additional reroll. Can be handy. You have Bloodwiser Babes, which, Bloodwiser, ha 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 ha. Bloodwiser Babes, they give your players a chance to recover from KO from the game so they can get back onto the pitch easier. The pitch being the field. That's what normal people call it. But I have bad habits. Speaking of bad habits, you have bad habits. That was very ironic. This allows you to make your team, the opposite team, lose a reroll. So, can be good. Because if you have no rerolls, you're essentially just running on luck at that point, and there's no way to change your fortune. So I always recommend you to have as many rerolls as you can get, and purchase them at the beginning of the game when you start a campaign, because they cost double after the beginning of the game, after you play your first match. So always buy as many as you can at the start. Then you have the Halfling Master Chef. The only thing that halflings are ever good for is cooking food.